turkeys are cheaper, but other parts of the holiday meal, they're more expensive. Now, why exactly is that? Is that due to tariffs? Is that due to inflation? Like, what's the reason?
Yeah, it really depends on the supply chain. Overall, I mean, we've seen food prices have really been accelerating over the last few months. And we've heard that from a number of grocery executives, right? In this Thanksgiving, you're going to see sweet potatoes is one thing that'll rise. You'll see coffee has been one that we've talked a ton about, and that's because of the tariffs, especially on Brazil. Smuckers, though, said recently this week it wasn't going to raise coffee prices further. Doesn't mean they're coming down, but just means that they're not going to go up anymore because the president recently took off the tariffs that he'd placed on Brazil. I think there's interesting you bring up turkey, though, about the Thanksgiving meal, because that's actually something on the rise of the wholesale prices, mostly because bird flu is back, and that's been raising wholesale turkey prices. But we've seen this in a number of food prices, is that retailers are actually trying to keep prices lower. That's something you'll see this Thanksgiving. It's why that turkey prices are actually down from a year ago at the retail level. And that's because you have the Kroger, the Albertsons of the world trying to cut costs at their corporate level, reinvest those back into price, and try and draw consumers back into their stores, buy it through promotions, and trying to cut costs or at least not raise prices further on consumers and try and win that market share. So the common theme has really been what some of the retailers are doing. Wholesale prices
Okay.
between tariffs and a number of events have been kind of out of whack on a number of items.
All right. So Thanksgiving may be a bit cheaper, but in general, especially if you want protein in your meal like beef, that's been more expensive. Now, talk to me about that. Part of that is due to the U.S. cattle herd being at a multi-year low. Is there any sign of that kind of reversing and beef prices moving potentially lower in any way? We're showing it right now. Beef and veal up about 15% year over year. Ground beef up about 13%.
Yeah, beef has been one of the biggest headlines of food inflation, one of the biggest drivers we've seen, right? And it is because of that cattle shortage that really began a couple of years ago. In terms of relief on its way, it's hard to say exactly, but I would say no. Really, there's no signs, especially fundamentally in the market, that we're going to see some relief. There have been talks, again, with the tariffs coming down that will give some more lean ground beef coming up from Brazil, with the president taking some of the tariffs off they placed on Brazil and more imports from Argentina. Might help a little bit in some of that ground beef category. But there's a 2-year biological clock on the animals. Ranchers have to rebuild their herds on American pastures, and that there's just a 2 to 3 year process that takes. And Tyson Foods recently decided to close one of their plants in Nebraska and cut one of their other large plants in Texas from 2 shifts to 1. That means lower beef production. So there's a few signs that beef price relief will be on its way, especially for the steaks and higher end cuts that we like so much.
So obviously beef is one part of the puzzle here. I mean, obviously a lot of Americans eat beef, but we eat other things as well. When we're looking at the rest of the landscape, whether it be pork, poultry, vegetables, produce, what's the outlook there? There's obviously also been some droughts that have impacted not only beef prices, but just farming in general.
Yeah, that's true. I would say right now, chicken is actually one where company executives have talked about, there's a ton of interest. Restaurants always have a ton of chicken promotions, right? That's been a really popular one. And I think prices have held fairly stable on that. Pork production has actually gone up in price a couple months ago, and they have earnings next week, but Hormel has talked about increases in pork prices, and that's because of some disease earlier this year. Pork producers had some pretty low profit margins for a number of years, and slaughter was cut back just a little bit, about 3 to 4%. So less pork production, some disease in our hog herds. Suddenly pork prices are up again too. So higher turkey, higher pork, beef, wholesale costs, chicken, a little bit cheaper. But protein, and remember, protein demand has been really robust for American consumers, the protein craze. So that's driving some of this. So if you're not having increased supply, heavy demand, protein prices for meats have really been rising.
So Patrick, the picture that you're painting is a structural situation where there's no end in sight for the rise in food prices. How much longer, just based on your reporting and the research that you're doing, do we see these elevated food prices and some of these headwinds when it comes to producing more protein and more other things?
Yeah, again, it really varies by, especially some of these proteins. Pork, that's something that could turn around faster than beef, for example. Turkey is hard to pin down because, again, that is a bird flu situation. And we haven't had any cases in the egg laying flocks yet. But if we talk about egg prices again, keep an eye on that as we get into December and January. That's something that could spike. Beef, again, that's a really hard one to pin down, and I don't think there's some relief in that in sight. But retailers from, Albertsons talked about this a month ago. We'll see what Kroger says next week, but they've been trying to promote more private label, more deals and promotions with consumers to keep these prices at least steady. They don't really come down, but at retail level, I think we're going to try and see some more deals to keep them steady because consumers are stressed, right?